Hello, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning into the In Arrow podcast. I'm your host, John, and today I'm with a good friend, a new friend, Jonas. Jonas, I forgot to ask you this beforehand, but please, how do you say your last name precisely?
Think chop. Not a win, but a loss. And then, what do you use to open a door? Use a key. Choplosky. Choplosky.
I'm so sorry because I know you probably had to say that so many times.
I say it so many times. I just tell people to say chop, to be honest.
All right, Jonas Choplosky. I've been saying that for a while. I've just got to make sure that I haven't been saying it wrong. But thank you so much for being on today. I'm very excited to get to ask you some questions if you're open for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So we'll get right into it today. We had spoken a little bit online, and I had the opportunity to meet you. I think it was through a post that I made on the 607 music scene. And that's because you're a musician yourself, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit just about yourself and what you do in the music scene and kind of how you got there today.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, like northeast around Williamsport, Mansfield-ish area.
Okay.
Came up to New York around 2023. I was mainly focused more on like digital music. I was mostly just making music in my room while I was in school.
Oh, yeah.
And then like around this, like I would say this time last year, I started like going to open mic nights, just like trying to get out there, play more, and get my foot in the door in places, network and whatnot.
That's a good idea.
And then like throughout that process, I've kind of transitioned my music more. So I like built like a really fun cover song set list for me that would also be like enjoyable for other people to listen to as well, because a lot of my music, like I do really like a lot of my music, but I don't know how it would like, I don't know, like specifically like in the bar scene and whatnot. I don't know if that's like some of the music like I didn't think it would be the right market for. It would be more like very niche, I would say. So a lot of it can be depressing, but
Okay, I see what you mean.
yeah,
And
but some
I understand, yeah. So with that in mind, I have two questions from that. One is, well, what did you go to school for?
So I went to school for electronic media and strategic communications.
That's a really modern and relevant profession to try to get into.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually hoping to be starting a full-time job in marketing here in the new year at a company.
Oh, wow,
But
best of luck to you, man.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do a lot of market. I think that's why I always focus more on digital with music, because I already had like the background in it.
So for digital for you, there's a difference between like when you say digital, you mean like not performing, not going in front of people just kind of like finding your stuff online, or only.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I got you. So I'm not sure if you're 100% familiar with what I used to do. I mean, I do a ton of things now, but back when I was 18 and 19, I used to actually be a local band promoter for a lot of the local businesses, the local bands in our area. I don't.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, it's been a while since I'm 25 now, so it's been a long time since I've gotten to speak and really work with these guys. But I don't know. I might have to cut this if they're not comfortable with me saying their names. But like Dirty Band-Aid or Tom Julo or Stay Off the Fence or oh my gosh, back in the day there was this band. It was called Pissing Match, and every song they sang it was like 40 seconds. And their set lists were like 25 songs long, and it was just like a 40-second song. And it would be like 10 words, a couple, like drum beats and whatever. It was great. I loved it. The grunge. If people are familiar with Binghamton and Av DIY, it closed a while ago. I'm not sure the condition of things now, but that was like the best, grungiest venue to go to ever. So with that in mind, what are some of the things that you have found great success with in the music scene outside of maybe struggling to find the exact market for your music at bars?
I've had a lot of fun just going to open mic nights, to be honest, and because like there's this one open mic, I think it's called Waterman's Cafe and Barn. It's literally like a barn in what is that town called? I'm sorry if I butcher. Yeah, Appalachian. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving me there.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
I think because at first I was saying Appalachian, and some people would like.
Well, here's the thing. It's a regional thing, 100%. If you're down south more towards the end of the Appalachian or Appalachian Mountains, they say Appalachian. Up here, towards the end of it, and actually this is what some people don't know, but the end of it contiguously actually ends in Scotland. While all the continent or things were close together when the land was forming, so it's the same mountain range. But regardless, it's regarded as the Appalachian Mountains in the north, and towards the south, it's referred to as the Appalachian, and that's just a regional distinction entirely. So I found that both could be correct, but yet what we say colloquially, it's known as Appalachian, like an apple lake in.
Got it, Appalachian. I can remember that.
You currently you live in Elmira, you said?
Yeah, I live in Elmira right now.
So they have a pretty good music scene up there, I've heard, actually.
I mean, I don't know.
Depending on your music.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't delved too much into the Elmira scene. I know there's this really cool thing that the community does here during the summer called Alive After 5, and that's really cool. Yeah. Just like every Friday, like I think it starts in like May and goes until August. It's just a block party at like each designated location, like 2 parks and like bars. They'll shut down the streets and they'll just have live music, food and drinks. It's basically like a festival, basically, but it's really cool.
Stuff like that. I mean, I absolutely love stuff like that.
That's honestly the coolest thing I know about Elmira. They used to have like some venues where they played music, and they have like, I think it's called the Lacombe Center now, but it used to be the First Arena where they're the Aviators now, where the hockey team plays. They always have bands and musicians coming in there and playing too. So there is a decent scene. I just don't know too much about like the local scene itself. I've only ever been to the church that I play at, and then I think it's Jake's Saloon in Horseheads. I don't know if you ever heard of Horseheads.
Jake's Saloon in Horseheads. Okay, I can't say that I'm very familiar with Horseheads. We played them in soccer a couple times in high school. But just as well, if anybody's watching from there, here's a shout out for you guys,
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Jake's.
Yeah, 100%. But I do have another question for you in regards to like the music scene. So where do you say you're most prolific? Like, where do people know you best?
Definitely, like my main audience is on TikTok right now, but
okay, excellent. You should have told me that. All right, we're gonna make sure when we have the opportunity to later in this video. But right now, the TikTok's gonna be up on the screen. Look at it. Wow, it's beautiful. But that's the TikTok. Yeah. Go check out Jonas, and then later in this episode, we'll have the opportunity to actually plug you and do the whole 9. So that's great, actually, because we do a lot of stuff on TikTok, and I can ask you a question maybe about the potential banning of the app. What do you think of that?
I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, there's like so much. It's so delved into our culture, and like there's people like who actually like make a living off it now. That it's kind of
right.
Seems pretty difficult to just ban outright, but I guess I understand the premises why they're doing it too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but this is my thing with the TikTok ban. It is one. It's like, I get it. They're worried that other countries are getting our information, our data as Americans, but it's like that already happens on every other app. Like,
and every website. Just
exactly. Like, so we just had, and this is like recent news, and I try not to speak about like national news so much. It's not a big deal. It's just not local to our area. But regardless, apparently there is a massive cyber hack from Chinese hackers into our telecommunication systems. So like Verizon, AT&T, other companies, a lot of data got leaked. That's terrible because, we have them, we have them to blame for their insecurities and, the companies that we invest in. But that's how it goes sometimes. But it's like you're willing to outright ban an entire app that's like, yeah, people make money when they use their phones. Yeah, when they have to call people, make business deals or whatever. But then there's an entire platform where it's like allowing for free speech. It's allowing for people to share ideas. An entire culture has been created. But the biggest thing, like you said, people are making money, taxable income for the United States government to collect that otherwise would not exist. I cannot imagine how much money the United States government is actually making off of TikTok. I think
Yeah.
it's incredibly hypocritical.
I think that's one of the things that they're talking about bringing up whenever if they do end up disputing it, just like how much money like they've made for our country.
Literally. I mean, when I did socks with John, I still do it, but when I started it last year, I strictly started it on TikTok because I knew that it was really easy to do things on TikTok as opposed to other platforms at that time. And I was
Right.
100% right. I found some success. I was consistent enough to grow, and then people actually like it. It's not like we have thousands of viewers or like likes and followers, but the fact of the matter is, I was able to create something on TikTok I don't think would be able to grow as easily as it did on other platforms. So it's like
Yeah.
removing that resource now for people, and especially somebody like you who's affected by that. Can you tell me maybe what your plan would be if they decided to ban it and there wasn't an option for you to still be on that app?
Uh, so like personally for me, I've actually had the experience already, unfortunately.
Really?
So there's a song I made earlier this year called "In the Middle of a Drought."
All right, we
Eh,
used that song for our last episode, actually.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was the outro, I believe.
Yep.
In the
So
middle
y-
of I like
yeah,
that song actually.
yeah, it's catchy,
Yeah, I like
super
the
catchy.
cover art too. It's pretty cool. You did it. It was really well done actually. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about that song. But like, anyways, I made this silly video. I think I can't. I think it's the Big T. I don't remember the actual name of the actual waterfall. It might
Okay.
just be Montour Falls. But there's a waterfall in downtown Montour Falls,
Mhm.
and I went there and like recorded a video of me like pouring water into a cup. Uh,
Oh,
because like one of the lyrics in the song is like fill up my cup to like Niagara waterfalls.
okay.
So like I was making a video for social and whatnot, and so that video I boosted on Instagram, and it got ended up getting my whole meta, so Facebook, Instagram,
Right.
all of that got banned, and I still don't have access to it
What?
until next month. I've been off of Facebook and Instagram for 6 months now.
What? For what reason? Why?
So they're like copyrights run off of AI,
Oh,
and so like they claimed that I was infringing on copyright, but like the problem with it was I owned the rights to the music because it was my song.
I see. So
But
for
I couldn't
six
dispute it, and
months.
there's no like customer service to email or call or anything. So I was just basically screwed. I lost access to my account. Still don't have access to it. I have a backup Facebook now, but uh, yeah, I don't have that till for another month.
Everybody go check out Jonas's backup Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be on the screen right now. Look at it. Wow, there it is.
Yep.
That's really too bad, man. That for people that create content and rely on platforms to be able to share their content, that's really what am I trying to say? Crippling almost. Like completely
Yeah.
removing you from that's really unfortunate, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I wish there was something I could do in regards to that. Like,
No, it's all good. I kind of just treated it as like a social media break. But I honestly have used a lot of YouTube and TikTok more because of it.
yeah.
So it does kind of suck, but at the same time, I got to take a little break, and because you don't realize like how much like this becomes a part of your life until like you don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
So I try to take the good with the bad, even though it's like a crappy situation. I tried to make the best out of it.
That's the right mentality, at the very least. So that's good.
Yeah, but it did definitely stifle a lot of things.
What do you
Because I
think?
was like,
Oh, sure.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, what do you think will be the prevalent app after TikTok gets banned? Because it'll be the 19th of January, and it's already gone through the appeals process, and they didn't get their appeal, so it's a good chance it's going to get banned. What do you think will be the
Yeah.
most popular app for the users of TikTok? You think it's going to be YouTube?
Uh, I think they'll just like transition more into like Instagram and YouTube. I did like find out about this one called Clapper. I don't know much about Clapper to be honest, but shout out Clapper. It's a lot like
It's taken
TikTok.
over already. Alright. Yeah, shout out Clapper, I guess. Do you have a TikTok? Is that why?
No, I don't know I was reading an article on like the TikTok ban, and so like they mentioned Clapper at the end, so I went and searched on the App Store, and there it is. It's mostly like yeah, it's mainly like an Indian platform right now. But I could see it.
Yeah, so it's not the Chinese, or sorry, it's not even a Chinese company. It's a Singaporean company.
Well,
It's not the Singaporean company we have to worry about. It's the Indian company now we have to worry about. Wow, even better.
yeah. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, Clapper.
That's
But
interesting. Um,
I don't think personally it will work. I don't like the name of it, but I mean, people don't care about names. They just want something to entertain them.
It's what's it really matter? Well, I mean, what's the craziest like name for a social media app now? I mean, they're all pretty similar.
Yeah.
Do you have a Twitter or an X? Do you have an account? I got rid of mine like 7 years ago, dude. Oh, I feel so free to know I did that. When I was
I don't use X. I do have one, I think, but it's only because like there's random like things that I'll search with people tweeting that I want to see. So and every time I click on it, it's like, please log in or sign up. So I'm like, all right, I'll make one for that, but I'm not active on it at all.
I think the reason I got off of it, like back when I did, and that was before Elon Musk took over and fired like 80% of the workforce and changed it into his own personal brand, basically. But I quit because I thought it was really toxic, and I think it wasn't very productive. Like, people weren't like sharing things for the sake of like, hey, come check this out, or let's build something constructive. It was like, everybody stop following this person now, or this person is like responsible for the worst of the worst in our world. It's like, I don't want to be surrounded by these people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good idea as well. That just bringing up more about like taking a social media break. I feel like anymore in today's age, that is a very important thing to do. Because I'll be honest, I'm not sure if you have aspirations to have children. I certainly do, and I'm going to be making sure that when they have access to the internet, either one, it'll be of a certain age, like 10 or 12, because when I was younger, I saw some things on the internet at like 5, 6, 7, 8 that one shouldn't have been on the internet at that time. It was like 2005, 6, 7, 8, but what else? Yeah, so basically, I don't want my kids to be on the internet until like a certain age, and also it's going to be like you get a certain amount of time, right? That's I think that's an adult thing to do, but anymore, people live online, and they're like chronically online. That has become more of like a term to describe people that you can like kind of. It's almost like a derogatory term to a certain extent. Like, oh, these people that are chronically online, they're making decisions for people. As an example of things that I see or hear online, but. Just as well, if you have aspirations to have kids, what do you think you'll do when it comes to their allowance for the internet?
Yeah, I would definitely do like a time limit too, and I do a time limit to myself now because like I'm aware of like who I am as a person. Like if I'm on TikTok, I can just keep scrolling. It's so addictive, and that dopamine hit that you get from like because it like sucks you in because it's so personalized to each individual person, so it's constantly showing you things that you want to see.
It's what's it called? Like a echo chamber. That's the word. Where all you're seeing is just things that confirm your own beliefs. So it's like everything that's tailored towards you. So of course you're gonna love it. You know, say you're somebody who's like deeply religious, and you go on and everything is like specifically about your religion. You're like, oh, I like all these posts. The past 10 posts I've seen, I've liked every one. Yeah, that's almost like an addictive quality of an app, and that's actually one of the reasons that TikTok is getting banned is because of its influence on the youth, the youth. And the youth to like perpetuate mental health issues in young people. Social media and its effect on mental health for young people. That would be a good idea for an episode. I don't know necessarily if you and I are going to have that episode today. I'd like to know a little bit more about you personally, but if you want to come back on sometime, I think that'd be a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah, for sure. I think you have a good perspective on that. It's a little bit different from mine as well, so we would have good conversation.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask you, I think I had already asked you so far, but I'd like to hear like a ton about specifically your journey in the music scene and how you kind of got from like, because we heard of like where you do it, where you enjoy, and like what kind of music. What are some people that you've worked with in the past, and whether you'd like to name them or not, and the things you've learned with working with other musicians? because one of the things we try to inspire on this platform for sure is a sense of community. So what are some of the how's the community been for you? I should say.
I think like the first thing that comes to mind when you mention that is like kind of like what we were talking about with like the social media, how it like tailors you to like exactly what you want. And
Yeah.
for a long time, like a lot of like my music and everything was just what I wanted to hear, what I wanted to listen to. And I was opening for a country band in Pennsylvania. They're the Clark Jackson Band. And I'm being honest, I am not, well, I wasn't a huge country music fan, like at all.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
just like getting around them, being in their scene of getting a feel for the music, it kind of like it's grown on me a lot. I
That's
definitely,
really cool.
yeah. So like getting out of that's, I think that's one of the main things that has taught me is just being open and to other music's styles, genres. Like there was this uh, like county fair that they were playing at, and there was this uh, bluegrass band playing there, and I'm like, I would never go into my car and play bluegrass music,
Yeah,
but
I get you.
like, yeah, but like I was there and like hearing each musician, like it was just like they're super talented, like going off on banjo
You
solos,
gotta
violin
respect the
solo.
talent, man. At the end of the day,
It,
even if you don't enjoy the music, it's the talent you gotta appreciate.
yeah,
I'm right
like
there with you.
it was just like really entertaining. Even though like I would have never went to a bluegrass concert prior, but like now I'm a lot more open to going and playing and listening to other music just to explore other avenues. Like one of the places I went and played at, I was the first like punk rock musician to ever play punk rock music there first. And then there was this other venue where I organized a concert, and I had one of my friends that's like a rapper. He went on. He was the first rapper to ever perform there. So like, kind of breaking new ground on some things and in some ways
That's
because of that.
actually really cool because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're like the first person to do that genre of music, like a lot of people are going to remember that. You're going to be known as, oh man, we finally had somebody from like punk rock or whatever, somebody from rap or whatever regard or whatever other type of music. It emboldens the community because there's like always one or two people in like a population that are like, oh, I'm willing to try something different, or hey, that I like both sides of the same thing.
Right.
So allowing for people to kind of intertwine, that's just like the culture of this of of our people, of who we are. It needs to be shared, and so giving people a platform to share it, it's very human, it's very generous of you as well, so I commend you for that.
Right. But yeah, that's the first thing I think of with the question that you asked.
Your experience with the community. I think I would say the people that have experienced that have the best understanding and the deepest roots in the community are local musicians.
Yeah.
You would agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You become part of the culture for sure.
I mean, everybody knows everybody. They're the nicest people. You go and you see them, and everybody's cheering, having a good time. It's like this person, if you choose to, you can become a pillar or a monument to uh, the music genre or say the culture of that town or wherever you are. And it's
Yeah,
important to
exactly.
have those people.
Like I don't know if you're into Post Malone really, but
Not
when
the
he
biggest
like
fan, but it's not terrible. But
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but like he when he announced his F1 billion tour, his like one of his first shows was in Syracuse, and he's from Syracuse, and
That's cool.
people like that was like instantly sold out online just because like he was heading back to his hometown to play, and I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like the country type music. Like I do like some of it, but like
Myself as well.
him as an artist is just like
Wait,
amazing.
he
Like
he makes country music?
his most recent album was a country album, and
What? Really?
yeah,
Very
it honestly,
interesting.
it's honestly not bad. It's not his best, like, but I could definitely see like going back and listening to some of his other songs. Like, okay, this could pass as a country song. You can countryfy it or however you will.
Sure. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. At the very least, when another artist is willing to like, you know, I'm sure it's something he likes, and he's got a small crowd for it. But when he's willing to diversify himself to a degree of like putting himself in the exact opposite frame, like with some guy with face tattoos, not necessarily as somebody you would necessarily think is a country singer, right? I remember a long time ago I worked at this place, and there was like a siblings that worked together, and his my friend's sister was telling me that she was getting him for Christmas a signed autograph from Post Malone. Because she said that was his favorite rapper. And we had a very, very long conversation about, is Post Malone a rapper? And I had the argument, I didn't really know, but I was like, I don't think he is, right? Like, he doesn't rap, like, he sings, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that in mind, I think as long as somebody has the talent, then they should be able to make as much music as, like, you know, like, for instance, you Panic at the Disco. You know Panic at the Disco, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Brendan Urie has an incredible voice and a
amazing
ludicrous range. Absolutely incredible. I'm sure you're also familiar with Chris Cornell, one of my all-time favorite composers for music ever. Love Chris Cornell. Loved him in Audio Slave. Solo stuff was incredible before he passed away. But he was somebody else who had an incredible range, and it's like I can just respect the hell out of that talent of being like, okay, you know, for Brendan Urie's sake, if he could today make like a metal album, I would love that, absolutely love that. But just as well, when I was in high school and middle school, and I was like a little emo kid, I loved Panic at the Disco's emo stuff. You know, like that's what I was about.
Yeah, I Write Sins Not Tragedies is always a great song.
Right there, 100%. I love that. That'll unite the nation right there. That song right there, that'll bring us all together. Just like the murder of the healthcare CEO. Everybody's gonna come together under one flag, and it'll be the Panic at the Disco, I Write Sins Not Tragedies. What was that album called?
Oh, that is a great question.
Album names are wild. Like it was a long name. It was like
A Fever You Can't Sweat Out.
Yes, a Fever You Can't Sweat Out. Yes. There you go. Yeah, I think it came out in like 2006 or 2004.
Yeah, it's been a minute now.
20 years, dude.
Yeah.
How old are you, Jonas?
So I'm actually 30.
Are you 30? I just turned 25 the beginning of this month, actually.
Okay.
How's it feel being 30 now?
I'm not one of those that are like, oh my gosh, I'm so old now, but like, it definitely, I can feel the difference, to say the least. It sucks, but at the same time, I don't know if you just like, I've come a lot more like into my own frame, my own skin, feel more comfortable being who I am. And it's nice to like have that perspective, like, because like, I always like tell people like, however young you are right now is the youngest you'll ever be ever again.
That's
true. That's 100% true. So I always try to keep that in mind. Like, yeah, I'm older, but I'm not 80 yet.
How old do you want to be? And mind you, I'll ask you another question after this. It's like a very overarching and inclusive question for all people that have a scope for their life. But how old do you hope to be, you know, before you pass away? It's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a specific age. I used to want to, like, as soon as I like started to like turn into a vegetable, my plan was to go skydiving and listen to Free Fallin' and not pull the chute.
Damn.
But I don't. I haven't. It's pretty extreme, I know. But
are you serious?
No, I was 100% serious. That's
too bad, my friend. Wow, I'm glad you.
That's how I wanted to go out, but I'm not going to do that anymore. Because I would love for the ability to see great grandkids in my life. Like I don't even have a child yet, but I know I would love to just be able to speak into my future family's lives in some way. So I want to say like 80, 90. Will I make it to there? I don't know, but that would be definitely goals. I told someone this weekend, actually, I'm like, I want to live to 101 and run a 5K just to say I did it. I don't even run 5Ks now, but at 101, I want to do it.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of time between there, so you could, 71 years to learn how to, I don't know. I'll be honest.
A lot of training for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dedicated to it, man, you put your heart to it, you can succeed.
Yeah.
I have a bit of an interesting take on this when it comes to how old I'd like to be. At least
Okay.
100 years old, or at least 100 years
Pick
old
the
in like
three
1 month.
digits.
And I'll tell you why. I was born in 1999. If I live to be 100 years old and then the year turns to it would be 2100, I would be a tri-centurion. Right now,
Oh, right.
you and I both are because we were born in the 90s.
Yeah.
We are bicentenarians, and I think that's very cool. I mean, I was literally born the 1st of December, and for 1 whole month, I was born in the 90s. Like 2 o'clock in the morning,
It counts.
December 1st. Yeah, it counts. Damn right it counts. I'm a 90s baby. But then,
Yep.
like, just as well, the way that cultural diffusion usually works, it takes a couple of years before things kind of change. So, like, that early 2000s, 2001, 2, 3, right up until, like, 2004 or 5 was very reminiscent of the 90s culture.
Yeah.
Like, growing up with stuff like that. But just as well, I think that, back to, like, the original question, I think that by the time we even get to, like, 50, technology will advance to the point where life expectancy will probably be over 150. I've noticed something in the past 5 to 10 years is that there's more people dying over 100 years old. A lot more people dying over 100 years old. Not necessarily like people I know or in my family, but things I see on the news, or like, oh wow, the oldest person ever alive is alive today, or like 112 something years old, and that maybe they died a couple years ago. So it's like interesting. So at some point we will get to the upper levels of what we can expect to live, or upper levels of what year we'll die at, rather, to rephrase. So
Yeah, it's crazy. 150.
I could see us. I mean, dude, I'll be honest. Because here's the thing: technology progresses at an exponential rate, but we do not age exponentially. Our age progresses over a linear amount: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once we get to 50 years old, our life expectancy could be, by the time we're 70, we can live to be 90. Right? I mean, it doesn't necessarily make sense the way I said it, and then by the time we get to 90, okay, the life expectancy in our technology has allowed us to live to 200. Okay, now we get to like 150. Right. So, and that's why I think that you and I are going to be part of the first generation to live a lot longer, perhaps double the time that our parents or grandparents had lived. My sister now, she just had a baby this year, so I'm an uncle now, and my parents are grandparents. And so I don't have any great grandparents anymore. I think in the past 5 years they've all passed away, unfortunately. Technically, the past 10 years. It's been a while.
All right.
But with that in mind, I think it's a very valiant effort to at the very least tell yourself that, I want to talk to my great-grandchildren. So I commend you for that, and I hope that someday I can as well. Maybe my great-great-grandchildren, that'd be cool.
That would be a cool goal for sure.
I have another question for you. This one is more in regards to... This is a large, overarching question that I ask a lot of people. I've asked a lot of people, I should say. In my time in business, I've been in business for over 5 years. I don't remember when I decided to kind of come up with this question. But if you're willing, it's here it is, I suppose. So, Jonas, if I, and mind you, you might already have this, but maybe you don't. If I gave you $10 million and I gave you the next 5 years starting now to spend it, even at the end or any time in those 5 years, you can hit a big reset button. Boom, big red button. And it brings you back to this exact moment. Restarts everything, puts the money back in your pocket the exact way I gave it to you before, and everything can be done again or differently if you choose. You don't have to hit the reset button, and the money is completely magic. I snap my fingers, the IRS is completely satisfied with you obtaining $10 million. What do you do?
Dang.
Quite the question.
Well, I know, like the first generic question is to like buy a house, but I wouldn't do that. I want to, because I want to travel. I want to explore the world. Because like you could buy a house anywhere, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's your home. I want to find a place that I could call my own before I would buy a house. So I would do a bunch of traveling, just explore the world. I would definitely I've never left the United States. I would want to go over into Europe and Asia, just explore this planet we live on. Like, I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. Really? I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, but like the landscape there looks like a different planet. I just want to go check it out.
I think that'd be really cool, actually. I would go to New Zealand.
Yeah, so I think the first thing I would do is definitely go explore. But I'm also smart enough to know, if you're not smart with 10 million, oh, you get the reset though.
Exactly. You get the reset button.
So I would try to do some sort of investing too, just to compound that.
Yeah.
I would definitely invest in my music a lot. I would get like top-notch equipment. Definitely like make this my own business.
Oh yeah. I mean, you could do a lot with 10 million. Anybody can do 10 million.
Like even just like a $1 million marketing budget, you could do anything with.
Oh yeah, 100%. $1 million in a year, or $1 million between like 4 years. Like that's still an insane amount.
It could be like a completely mid song, but with that amount of marketing money behind it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you know what? You could do exactly what YouTubers do. They go to like an actual famous producer. They get features they pay for, like $50,000 for 30 seconds, or not even 30 seconds. Oh, you're gonna go brah on the back of this song every time he says a word. Okay, cool, 50 grand. There you go. And that's how it is, though. That's like 100% the real life scenario of how the music industry kind of works a little bit. So what I'm hearing, Jonas, is a very human response. I've gotten a lot of answers, anywhere ranging from I'm gonna blow all the money, hit the reset button, and blow all the money again, to I'm not gonna spend a single dollar.
That's not a bad choice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is a very human response, because what you've said is that I'm going to travel the world and find out where I want to put my house, not my house, my home. Because to you understand that it doesn't matter where you place yourself down. It matters what you bring with you, who you are, and what value you have, and what value you've been able to hang on to with your whole life, whether that be family, possessions, friends, anything. You are somebody who knows what's worth cherishing, and I'm sure at some point in your life you've probably had to go through a decision of what's worth hanging on to and what's worth discarding. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, because like if you would have asked me that question even like a year ago, I would say I would go buy like a mansion house out in the hills in California.
Yeah, throw a party every night until that 10 million disappears.
Yep, but then I recognize like I would feel more alone than I would out there than I do here. So like I don't know.
The inventor of Minecraft, what is it? Marcus Peterson. His name is Notch. He goes by Notch, like online.
Okay, no, I'm not too familiar.
So he sold Minecraft, I think, in like the mid 2010 era, and he sold it for over $1 billion. So because it was an indie game and it was his company, he sold it, and he, like all the other workers, decided to keep working. He was bought out for billions of dollars, instant billionaire. So basically, he became like a Gatsby figure. And if you read The Great Gatsby, basically spends all of his money. I'm talking people that didn't know this guy. He bought the most expensive house in Beverly Hills. He had incredible, extravagant parties like every single weekend, or like constantly, like Jay-Z, like the high, like people that were serious. And these are people that are because this is the inventor of Minecraft. They sold his company. And basically, he got to the point where he started just blowing all of the money, and eventually, that catches up to you. But the biggest deal is that doesn't buy friends, that doesn't buy family, and that doesn't fill the void at all. And he figured that out, and eventually he sold everything, moved back to, I think, Sweden, where he was from, and now he lives a very modest and humble life. He still has millions of dollars, but he realized that, like, it doesn't matter if you have all that money to spend with celebrities and, whatever else. It's not what you want at the end of the day. Yeah.
2 years ago, I definitely would have done the exact same thing. Throw parties out in Beverly Hills.
Can I ask what happened in a year and a half then?
Just the perspective change on valuing like the people I surround myself with more than I don't know.
Falling out or something happened? Some friends maybe?
Nah. I mean, I've definitely like outgrown like some friends along the way, but I think at that time it was just more of like wanting. I think the thing that a lot of us are looking for in life is just validation, and I don't know. I feel like I would love that initially, but then like after I got that like external validation, like I don't know, like there's this I've made a project on it actually. It's not my greatest project, but it was an album I made called The Wave, and it was like a concept album, and it was like a concept album is kind of like if you ever listen to American Idiot by Green Day.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with concept albums. I love System of a Down.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Got it. But like the overarching theme was like I made this character, and in the album, he got everything that he thought he ever wanted in life, and when it all came crashing down, he had nothing, and it wasn't enough, like for him. Like, and then I came like that's when I personally also, so it's also like super close to my personal journey because I came to that realization that all the money, all the fame, all that stuff, like it's great, but it's not gonna fill that void, like you said. It's not gonna make me happy. And
You're familiar. I'm sure that's very profound what you said. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
you're good.
I'm sure you've heard this at some point in your life, and it's from the All Star Rock or the All Star song as well.
Oh,
All
like
that
Smash Mouth.
glitters is not gold, or all that
Oh
glitters
yeah,
is
yeah.
gold, right? It's actually all that glitters is not gold, but all that glitters is gold. It basically means what? Well, first, like the direct analysis of that is you think that everything that glitters or that is shiny is gold and has value. But what it's saying is even something that doesn't have value, if it glitters to you, it is gold. So it's about your perception and your accepting of what is valuable to make it valuable. So all that glitters is I guess it can be both, like is not gold. So it's like gold doesn't really mean anything. Like the weight of gold and the coldness of the metal means absolutely nothing to your human condition. But at the end of the day, having people, friends, family, anything like that, they don't shine like gold. They don't shimmer in the light, but they'll treat you like gold. Right? Or at
Right.
least you hope so.
Yeah.
I've certainly been there, my friend. I mean, I unfortunately at this point don't really have a lot of people in my life that I feel super connected to the very extent to even refer to them as friends. I have business partners. I do have some friends, but I had a pretty robust friend group throughout my time, and like after I graduated high school and like a couple years before, say like the past 3 years, maybe 2 years. And basically working with friends in business or trying to collaborate with them. And if they didn't want to do what I wanted to do, then, there's no point in kind of like forcing them. But the divide began to grow, and I realized that, yeah, I did outgrow them as well. So I'm in kind of like the same boat with you in understanding that. And it's a good thing to know early on.
Right. Yeah, similar stage in life.
This is actually a good time for us to do a little bit of a cut for Socks with John. Of course, every episode on this channel is brought to you by Socks with John. We've talked we've talked very much on this episode about the how TikTok will be banned most likely and what to do and where to find our sock videos. Otherwise, you can always find them on this channel. They're always on Instagram and Facebook as well. And most likely I'll start posting them to Blue Sky because I don't know, why not, right? We'll just do a little shorter segment for Socks with John. Thank you for checking out Socks with John. As for everything Jonas has to offer today, Jonas, go ahead and just share everything you would like people to check you out. All your social media links are going to be found in the description, but when you list them, when you say them out loud, they're going to be appearing on the screen. So go crazy, man. Let's see what you got.
So I would say right now to go check out Allie Torto's.
Oh yeah, 100%. We actually, so I did a fair, or I do a fair, and we had her come our first year actually, Allie Torto. 100%. Go check her out.
Oh, but yeah, I'm in a virtual singing competition that she's hosting.
Oh, cool.
And I did the song Lonely Road by MGK and Jelly Roll.
Oh.
And I also did a cover song that I posted, and it's on like streaming platforms. Made that for my friend. Belongs to her. It's her song.
Song, right?
Yep, she's the one that got me to do the competition and everything, and so I want to just give her flowers and go check out that song. Yeah,
100%.
I'm not saying to definitely go vote for me. I'd love for you to go vote for me, but
Jonas, everybody watching today, go vote for Jonas. He has to win. He must win, and together we will win. There is no stopping.
Would love to win.
Joninator. He's here to win.
The JONINATOR.
The JONINATOR, CHOPPINATOR.
Ain't no stopping this train once it gets off the rails.
Can't stop the chop. That's what we'll say. Can't stop
Yeah,
the chop.
exactly.
But yes, absolutely. Everybody, please go check out all of Jonas's social media is up here on the screen now. It's going to be in the description as well. And also the music competition coming up. Please go. I'll be sure as much as I can to inspire people to go vote for you as well. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today for this segment, I should say?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but shout out Clapper.
Shout out Clapper, absolutely. Yeah, at the beginning and end of this video, there will be his music, Jonas's music playing. So at some point, you would have already heard it, and at some point you'll hear it again in the same video. So thank you everybody who showing some love to Jonas and our special guest today. Like I said, go check the stuff out. Brought to you by Socks with John. And lastly, of course, your brand could be here. Everybody else watching today, if you would like to collaborate with us in the future, you always have that opportunity with the In One Ear Out podcast. We do have some people that I tried to work with in the past, and hopefully they'll be able to get on as a guest as well, but we would like to promote their brands as well. So as that time comes, as you see on the screen now, it's just a blank segment. This could be us talking about your brand. So get excited for that the next time, perhaps. But thank you very much. So my next question for you is, what are some of the detriments or some of the people that you've run into that were good with working and bad to work with in the music industry from where you are? What's been your experience so far?
So I've had a kind of a mixed experience so far.
Yeah.
I would say there's like 80%. I always say like the 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the people are super genuine, super good people, super fun to work with. But there's been a fair share of like I have no other way to describe it other than cutthroat. Very like selfish and like selfish, conceited, like only focused.
To the extent of like.
Yeah, super competitive, and but like also like it's jealousy and greed fueled, just like wanting more, like, and rightfully so. Like, you're an aspiring musician, you want to get yourself out there, but at the same time, you don't need to step on other people's toes and take advantage of people in order to do that. Right. It's just gonna catch up with you later.
Right, exactly. If I could share any experience in business really quick, is that if you attempt to, we'll put it this way, if you try to fuck people over, you at one point will get fucked twice as hard. That's just how it goes. That's not karma. That's not a principle of the universe. That's just the logic of what you're doing. It'll come back on you at some point.
Yep.
But so some of the bad experiences, maybe, like you said, the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people account for, well, actually, yeah, that's it. 80% of the people are good people, but 20% of the people are accounting for 80% of the bad things happening, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So my takeaway from like kind of my experience, I should say, in the music scene here is that we had a very welcoming scene, but that was more so because everybody was very young and the inexperienced individuals were willing to work with like anybody, and then the people that were like around, maybe in like their 30s, because mind you, we're like high school kids at like 18, 19, whatever. So to a certain extent, like there was a little bit of animosity between the bands that were like, oh, we're a real band, we're not like kids that just picked up music, I've been doing this 7 years. It's like, that's cool, but just as well you gotta show a little support, because at the end of the day, we're all just listening to some half decent music out of basically I think it's a retired office building, spray painted so it's like, just enjoy the show, like just go there to support people. That's what the point of going to a show is, right?
Yep.
It's not like to be the best, win a trophy, and then rub it in people's faces. Like, no, people might be like, oh dude, that song was great, like I love that song, and they were like, yeah, I bet. They'd be like, okay, you know what, I hated that song, like, screw you and your whole band, I'm never coming here again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, through my experience, it really is like that easy for people. Like, if you give people a bad or a bad taste in their mouth after you're trying to like show off to them and be a musician, they'll never talk to you again, or at least they'll show some bad love towards you.
Yep. Burn a bridge you can never rebuild.
It's just not the way that you should conduct yourself when you're trying to work with people. And you've had plenty of experience, more experience. Well, I'm not entirely sure if you had more. Well, in the music industry, 100%. I have very little experience, unfortunately, outside of. I should have asked you this in the beginning. What musical instruments do you play?
So my main instrument is definitely acoustic and electric guitar, but I also can play bass. I can play. I don't know if you ever heard of the cajon. It's like a box drum.
Yeah,
I can play.
It's got like a hole on one side, and if you hit like the tops, like like corners, it's like a snare. The middle, it's like a.
Yep.
Yeah.
That exactly. And I can do like simple beats on a drum set, but I'm not like a super talented drummer by any means. But yeah, those are my mains.
And you sing.
Yeah, singing is also probably my favorite thing of them all. I'm a singer. But like it took me a while to get to where I was at because I kind of like started. I wanted to be a rapper at first, so I did a
Spit
lot
something
of
right now,
rap.
freestyle,
Yeah.
freestyle.
Okay. Give me a word.
Does it have to be like a good word, or is it gonna be
Just any word. Like hit me with anything. First thing that
chocolate.
comes to your mind.
Chocolate might be too hard.
Chocolate.
How about something that rhymes with everything, like
I'm not a big fan of everything, but when I go out into the club, I like to pop lock and drop it. Some people call me vanilla. Some.
My bad. I didn't put a beat up for you.
Yeah, you're good. I'm just trying to think. I got jumbled along the way. I didn't think it through.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll trust
I got
you.
something with chocolate.
I'll trust
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like everybody did that. Can I ask a question? Was there ever a point in your journey in school where you're like, yo, screw this, I'm dropping out and just doing rap?
So that never happened. No. I will say, like,
some dreams out there to anybody listening that like, oh yeah, I'm dropping out and being a rapper. Probably.
I will say, like, I did go full time trying to be a rapper. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did do that. But I didn't do it while I made sure to finish school and everything.
It's a responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
And you use what you've learned in school to a valuable degree, you'd say.
Yeah, I definitely tried to make sure it's in line with what I wanted to do. Try to make sure and be self-aware of who I was and try to find something that fits.
That's very important. I mean, I didn't go to school. I went to, obviously I graduated high school. I graduated like the middle of my class. I could really care less while I was in high school, but when I went to college, I went to a local community college, SUNY Broome, for 9 days, 9 whole big ones. And I was the first one in my graduating class to drop out of college, and I felt like a big loser, I'll tell you that. I convinced myself that what I was doing was going to be considered a gap year, and then going into my second gap year is when I decided to start a business. So it was after that I was like, maybe I'm not doing the whole gap year thing. Maybe I'm not doing the college thing. But you feel like you've learned something through school and it was valuable to you and you're able to apply it into your everyday life.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't say college is for everyone either. Like, if you want to start a business, there's definitely avenues to figure that out on your own. You don't need a professor to teach you how to do that. But I also was a dropout, and like I went back after a couple years.
It's nothing. It's not like it's a personifying trait of who you are. Oh, myself, I'm a dropout. It's not like a critical error on your part. It's just you made a choice at that time and made another choice later on. You know.
I mean, like, look at Kanye. He dropped out and he made it. So.
Well, let's not look at Kanye, because
he's definitely a troubled figure.
Last 3 years, is there anything Kanye said that was like, oh, maybe he should have stayed in school?
Yeah. He's just a constant red flag at this point.
Yeah, a very specific red flag, one with a big black X in it, but it's not quite an X. Yeah,
but
jeez.
I just thought of like his OG album, College Dropout. But
what was his? What was it? Was it second or third album? Was Graduation?
Yeah, I think it was his second. It might have been the third.
Bro, I love Graduation.
It's been a while.
I used to listen to that on my oh man. So my brother was in the Boy Scouts, and he's actually 29, or he'll be 30 soon. And so he was in the Boy Scouts, and he had an MP3 player, bro. And he had Graduation. Oh my god, I used to steal it when he would go on like overnight trips to like where would he go? I forget the exact camp he would go to, but I would steal it and I would go to go in my we shared a room, so I would steal it from his like desk, and I would listen to Graduation, dude. I didn't know like what half of the words meant, but I was like, oh my god, this is such good music. And like I think it was like a couple years ago I like revisited like the whole. I was like, I haven't listened to this in forever, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like singing this, and I was like, oh man, I wonder what this means. I'm not gonna repeat anything like that obviously now, but it's good. It's good stuff. But yeah, that was kind of like a detour from our conversation.
Yeah, 100%.
But I do have another question for you, Jonas. If you and this is kind of like more maybe in line of like aspirations, like going forward. Like I kind of already asked you this question, So obviously I have in mind like what you're working towards. You want to invest yourself into your music business. You want to actually have it like become a thing. Once you get access back to your account online, you're obviously going to be posting more often. If TikTok still becomes, or if that gets banned, you'll change course. You have options. So is that kind of like your path, or that's like your plan for life, is to at some point become like the pop off, big huge musician, have these incredibly gigantic stadiums filled with crowds of people that came to see you? I mean, that's like always the hope, right?
I mean, I would love that, but it's not the goal anymore. I do want to play out more. I'm trying to get stuff lined up for next year, but uh, I don't know if I want to be like that A-list musician anymore. I don't know if you've ever even heard of Nick D or Connor Price.
Maybe.
They're like they're independent musicians that have made it online, and so like the main goal is just like growing a consistent audience and following, and just try like the goal would definitely be like to make a living off of it. And like you don't need more than like if you had 50,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and all these platforms, you could make a comfortable living. And then I would like to like create, like I did a couple, I called them parties. I did a 4th of July party and a Halloween party, and I I treated them like concerts, but I also like tagged and paired them with other things to do. Like I did the 4th of July party. I also had like a cornhole tournament, and then like during the Halloween party, I had a costume contest,
Oh,
and
that's awesome. Yeah, I love stuff like that.
yeah, I want to like.
How did that go? Did you have like pretty good turnout?
So the 4th of July one wasn't the best turnout, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but
Yeah.
overall it was a lot of fun. And then the Halloween party, I learned a lot from like my mistakes from the what I did during that one.
Right. From the
Uh,
4th of July.
yeah, and it was that one went really well. I had the one cool thing that I didn't know like originally is like the sound guy that I hired to do that event also like makes like this dark synth wave music. Never shared it with anybody or doesn't he just makes it in his spare time, and I'm like, dude, just play some of this at the show.
How did it
So
go?
it went really well.
That's good.
Not
Wow.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that one. It wasn't like never like hits like the exact mark that I'm looking for, but all in time, I think it'll grow, and it's just getting more of the community involved and
Well, that's the main
grow.
idea about it, at the very least.
Yeah, growing a fan base and everything. Because like I've noticed a lot more in this age that people like because of the access to TikTok and everything. Like, why would somebody want to go out and listen to the music when they could just chill in their room and listen to the same thing? But
Yeah.
if he can provide value, it doesn't matter. But I'm not trying to get too sidetracked.
No, I mean that's a good point. I think it's very valid to say that we are kind of seeing a deviation between live performancing actually being a live performance, right?
Right. Yeah, there's this like musician. I don't know if you've ever heard of Baby No Money.
I've not heard of that. I can't say.
He had that song like right when TikTok first came out called La La La. Uh, but anyways, like he was talking about like in his like when he like goes out and tours, he actually loses money when he goes out and tours.
A lot of people actually do that. They lose money first, but then they'll make it up later. Which,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the way that a lot of people make money if they do tours, I mean, I'm sure you know this. I'm just saying this for the podcast, but for large musicians, they get into these record deals. Their contracts state that they really don't make a lot of money because the producing company or the record deal makes it, or the record company makes the most of it. They say it's the lion's share because the record or producing company gets the money from merchandise. They get money from like any type of branding deal that they can do. If they're doing, say they do an interview, say for like Slipknot, say Slipknot goes somewhere, they have an interview with like people, it's all 9 of them. That money that they're paid to get on that interview, that's given to their agent for getting the interview, that's given to their producers for allowing them to be a band, that's given back to the record deal. So they constantly are paying out to people basically just so they can go on the road. and it becomes a very expensive process. And that's why they have to keep doing the shows, because they usually only make the most amount of money on ticket sales, meaning they're forced to continually put on or create new music and fill their concerts with as many people as possible. So it's the incentive for people in the music industry to make a lot of money for the music companies, right? So it's like, if you want to be an individual and you're making money off of your own merchandise and your own branding, and you're not having to fill a lot of other people's pockets because you have tons of employees, then you're going to be able to do something individually, and you'll probably be a lot happier too.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I definitely want to get a full band. I'm just a solo musician right now. Like, all the stuff I make, like, I do my own instrumentals.
You do a really good job, Jonas, because I thought you had a band, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the goal is definitely to get a full band and play out more. I've done some solo, like shows with just me, and I've definitely had a lot more fun with a band. I want to get a full band, and because that's what it's all about. Like, when you go out and play, it's so much fun, especially if you with a good crowd. It's just a great time. So that's definitely the goal, is to get a full band and go out and start playing.
And
definitely
the love of the game, it sounds like, really, just because you
love it. At this point, I'm not doing it to try to. I'm not trying to be like the next. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but
Eminem,
I'm not. I'm not trying to make it big or anything anymore. I'm just trying to do it as get a couple shows. Say, for like Friday, I play at Iron Agave in Binghamton, and then Saturday
downtown at Iron Agave.
No, I don't actually, but I would love, that's one of the places I'm trying to go play.
I know those owners pretty well, actually. If you want to go meet me sometime down there, we could say, hey, this is a musician who'd love to work with you guys. And by that alone, they'd probably say, yeah, sounds good to me.
That would be sick. But I definitely wanted to be like the weekend warrior type.
I got you. Okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, do you have a full-time job as well that you pair with this, or no?
Yeah, so I'll be starting a new job here in the new year, doing like digital marketing.
Right. For that's like the exact yin to your yang of like punk rock versus working in marketing is like a corporate job versus being a punk rock musician. That's kind of funny, man.
Yeah, just need something to be able to like unplug completely. Because like I noticed like how quickly when I was going full bore in it, I got burnt out, and I lost a lot of the passion and fun in it, and I'm trying to just get back to that point again, I guess.
It's very important, and then what I'm hearing is a lot of good stuff from you of like where you place your morals, how you want to live your life, you're understanding what you want, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with. At the very least, when you get in, something I've struggled with personally is like figuring out precisely what you want and kind of going from there, because there's like a ton of things you want at the same time, but you can't have everything at once.
Yeah.
And it's a very frustrating process to kind of eliminate. I mean, I have like, right now across my room here, I have something pinned up to my wall. It says, "What do I want?" And it's a double-sided piece of paper with just a bunch of stuff. And I made it over a year ago. Looking at it now, half the stuff I don't want anymore. So I think it's a very important idea to have a sense of self and know who you are. Because if you start making a decision and it's like, well, maybe I want this, but 10 years later you're like, wow, that was the biggest waste of time ever. I don't ever want to be that person that goes back and, looks on my life as something that was not done correctly. And maybe you can agree with that as well.
Yeah, I definitely 100% agree with that. But I mean, like, I wouldn't be open to if it were to like pop off and blow off, obviously I would not be opposed to that. But that's not my main goal.
My main goal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Our main focus. Just trying to find fun in it again.
It seems like you find a lot of fun with, like you said, like being in a band with other people and just making music with people.
Yeah, that's one of the best things, is getting to, it's sometimes hard to collaborate, but finding the right people definitely helps a lot.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Let's see. Is there anything that you have a question for me, Jonas? I think I picked you apart just about in every way I could today. All the best regards, I'm hoping. But what's questions for me, maybe?
What's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, my favorite ice cream? I have a very nuanced answer to this. So obviously I make my own flavors. Maybe it's not obvious, but I make my own flavors. And my most popular flavor is regarded as the strawberry white chocolate cheesecake. Personally,
Ooh,
I love it.
fire.
It's so good. People go bananas for it. It's very good. But I absolutely love an invention of my own. It's called pancake ice cream. And so pancake ice cream has just about all the exact same ingredients as regular pancakes. It just doesn't have one, flour, and two, baking powder. That is it. It has eggs, sugar, milk, vanilla, cinnamon, whatever else. Basically everything else in it, because it's a French ice cream, I use egg yolks. It is basically a pancake in the form of ice cream. It's just not cooked. It is incredible, absolutely incredible. And when I make my rolled ice cream, I usually will do I'll do like cinnamon toast crunch, like crushed up with it as well. Absolutely divine. It's not the most popular flavor, however, so I don't usually get to have it as often as I would like. But when I do have it and people like it, they're like, "I've never had pancake ice cream," and I'm like, "Well, that's good to know." So
Yeah, I would definitely try that. Okay.
What's your favorite, Jonas?
Probably like Moose Tracks, like the, is it? I don't mean to butcher this.
No,
The
go for it.
Is it Ben and Larry's?
Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and
Ben
Ben and Larry's.
That's all right.
Been watching too much Impractical Jokers. Ben and Larry's half-baked ice cream is my favorite ice cream.
No, that's actually really good. That's a really good flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got like the
anything
brownie
with-
pieces.
Yes.
Mhm.
Anything with like pieces of something. My favorite mix in for my ice creams, I usually like do the Oreo because depending how I do it, you can still get some of that chunks of like the cream in small parts. It's just it's so good the way. But with so what's that? That's like brownie chocolate ice cream, right? Or it's like
Yeah, and then it has like peanut butter in it too.
yeah, it is. the
it's
one.
just-
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's
it just has a
that's
bunch of-
very very good.
It's like the Take 5 of ice cream.
Yes, unfortunately I don't have anything with peanuts in my stand because of allergies and
Okay.
unfortunately I've had experiences to validate me in that fact that I probably never will. There was an individual who had came to me and was like, "Hey, what can I have a very severe nut allergy. What can I have?" At the time, I was dating somebody who also had a very severe nut allergy. So I told him, I said, "You can have everything here." So the dad came over because I was up at the beer tree in Port Crane. He comes, "Hey, my son's really allergic to peanuts. A big problem. Like, we'll have to take him to the hospital if he even touches one." I was like, "Okay, yeah, not a big deal." I said, he's like, "Okay, so what can he have here?" I said, "He can have everything." He goes, "Everything?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean," I told him, I said, "My fiance," like I said, I was dating, but we were engaged or whatever, but my fiance has a similar allergy, so I can guarantee that nothing here is contaminated with peanuts. And so guess what happened after that? He came back over with his son and his son's 4 other siblings. And I was like, wow. So instead of one kid not, missing out on ice cream and then me not being able to serve a family of 7, instead I get to serve all 7 people because I accommodated for one person. And I was like, yeah, I kind of like that. I'm going to roll with
Yeah,
not
that's
doing
smart.
peanuts. I think I'm fine with that.
So like if I were to just go like without peanuts, just give me like a soft serve vanilla and dip it.
So I wasn't sure if you're 100% familiar with the way that I do ice cream, but I make rolled ice cream.
Oh, is it like?
What do you think it is? I like hearing what people think first. What do you think it is?
I think of like ice cream, but like Subway version. Like there's like a bar in front of me, and you have like a spatula, and you're like, okay,
Something like that, yeah, kind of.
similar.
Yeah, so
I'm not too sure exactly what it is.
So basically, imagine like so I have a countertop. It's like a frozen countertop. It's got about a 2-inch depression, and there's these double backing coils of copper that have the refrigerant in it, and that goes right underneath the stainless steel countertop. So the machine gets about negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 13 degrees or 14 degrees Celsius. So that is incredibly, incredibly cold. Like one of the first things I did when I got my machine, the first one, I got my hand wet, I put it on my machine. I had to completely defrost the machine because I could not take my hand off of it. It gets that cold. It really does.
It's like Christmas story type stuff.
That's exactly what I say to people all the time. I said, if I put my tongue to it, it'd be taking off layers of skin. So the way that I do it, I make my own ice cream because the consistency has to be very specific. You can't just buy ice cream and melt it and use it on the machine. It won't work. So when I pour it on there, it's a very thick and rich ice cream. I'll use these spatulas to like move it around as it gets evenly frozen. I'll spread it out into a rectangle so it gets nice and thin. If there's like they want like an Oreo or they want something else mixed or crushed up in there, like Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebble, anything can go in there. crush it
Oh,
up
sweet.
until it's all incorporated. I spread it out nice and thin. And the thing is, the machine gets so cold that the top is exposed to the air, so it's still a little bit malleable. So once I push my specials underneath the layer of ice cream, it'll roll on the bottom, but the middle still stays kind of chewy. So, people will get their ice cream and it's like, oh, it's really cold because it's just coming off this negative 20 degrees counter. But the thing is, the way that heat transfer works is that things that are incredibly cold heat up incredibly quickly. So you're eating it and all of a sudden it's like getting gooey while it's still really hard. In the middle of it's like melting in your mouth somehow while the outside maintains its figure. Absolutely divine, absolutely incredible. Hopefully that was a good sell for it. We'll be back open in April of 2025 for our... technically my 6th year in business, but it'll be our 5th season, I believe. So that should be.
I'll definitely have to try that cheesecake flavor.
Oh yes, 100%. I'm really hoping that we can. I mean, I have so many things going on. I just always want them to do good, but for the ice cream, I put a lot into it, so I hope that it prevails and I can continue to do it. But like I said, I'd love to be able to collaborate with you, Jonas, especially with the fair coming up next year and the other options that we have available for that. Otherwise. Is there anything else that you have for me today, baby? I think this might be a good point, honestly, to wrap up for today. I think we have we have much over an hour now. Probably like an hour and 25 minutes at this point.
Yeah, I can think of just one more thing because the ice cream talk made me think about it.
100%, let's go.
So earlier this year, have you ever heard of Cones? It's like just outside of Binghamton. It's an ice cream shop outside. I can't even remember the name. It was Binghamton still. It might have been Port Crane, but they did every Friday, first Friday of the month in the summer, they do like a car show and live music.
Yeah, I got you.
And that's something that people should definitely go check out. I had a lot of fun playing there.
That sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, got a car show, ice cream, and live music. It's just a good time. I had a lot of fun playing there. They also own like Towns Tavern and then North Street Tavern. I don't know if you ever heard of those.
They sound familiar. North Street Tavern.
Or Beer 30.
Yeah, Beer 30. I know Beer 30. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm not somebody who drinks. I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, I also don't drink much either, but avenue for music.
Yes. I was just gonna. Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Is that a lot of people that drink like music, and the drunker they are, the more they like music.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I could think of, Ed. Seems like a cool side idea for you potentially in the future too.
Oh yeah, there's
ice cream and live music, dude.
I mean, I'll be honest, man. Come next year, I hope to be able to work with the city on a couple of allowances to have my space that I rent available for more than just what I sell. I wanted to have things like a dance competition, a costume party. I wanted to have some live music play. I have a photographer. I used to have a photographer, a couple different ones. And we would do like a Friday date night where people would come and we want to take pictures of them if they look nice. So it's like an incentive to come down and get ice cream. We ran a deal if you brought somebody with you. So I'm all for working with the community. And I was actually criticized by somebody in the music scene, maybe more recently within like the last year. I'm not going to say who she was because, she's actually pretty popular and a lot of people would probably hate me for saying something like this. But she had accused me of not being pro-community because basically, and she was like the front runner of a lot of the, kind of negligent, maybe I'll just say the ear that I got from a lot of people. Basically, I was treated unkindly because after I stopped being a local band musician or promoter, I stopped like going to the shows so often. I stopped like promoting people for free. Like, hey, I want to post you on my page. Can I do that? Yeah, sure, go for it. I stopped doing that. I opened my ice cream business. A lot of people felt betrayed. They felt like I became this corporate slave at 19 years old or 20 years old, and that I was no longer like cool to them. So unfortunately, I do hope to like break that stigma that I'm somebody who's not pro-community. It's not a stigma. I know it's not. It's just one person who was upset with me. So at the end of the day, but I try to collaborate with all different types of people, plenty of people in our community, people outside of our community. I do my absolute damnedest for this. So 100% Jonas, I would love to work with you in the future, especially considering that you do make good music. That definitely helps. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
100% Jonas. And like I said, I mean, at this point, I think your music is playing. What song do you think is playing right now?
Oh.
It could be anything. It's going to be whatever you send me at the end here, but it could be anything.
It could be anything. I'm going to guess Instant Classic.
Instant Classic? You're right! It is! Oh my gosh! Wow, it is that one. The foresight of Jonas Choplosky. Hilarious. Incredible. No,
Yep. Shout out, Hunter.
Your music is playing right now. It's probably not incredibly loud. I usually don't like to have it playing loud until we're done talking. But thank you very much, Jonas, for being on. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our beautiful audience for today?
Love you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jonas. Happy. What do you celebrate?
I celebrate Christmas.
You're a Christmas guy. Well, Merry Christmas to you. We hope to have you on again sometime for sure, and we're going to talk about more about the things that we had in the beginning of the discussion here, because I think it was very good. But like I said, of course, 100 times, thank you so much for coming on today. And as everybody else that's watching, thank you for tuning in to the In, Way, Out podcast. As always, I'm your host, John. We will see you again very soon, I'm sure. Take care. Adios, mis muchachos. And peace out, guys.
Peace.
Peace out.